I'm not trying to say like diamonds are a girl's best friend or anything, but every time I come around your city, bling, bling, bow, bow.
And cut.
Time to buy a new ride, bling, bling.
Welcome to the Power of Love podcast. My name is Ty.
And I'm Ashley, and we are just so excited to have you guys here to journey along with us. We want to talk with you guys and with each other about all things faith, relationships, love, and so much more.
Including our journey to and through marriage.
Yes. So this video that you're about to see is going to be real life conversation, an interview of us just answering questions in the most candid and real way, questions that we did not prepare for. So we hope you guys enjoy.
And that's healthy, baby. My name is Tyrone Watts, but Ty Watts or Mr. Power Through.
My name is Ashley Breon Ford, almost Watts.
Approximately 2 years plus. And now we're engaged. Why did I propose? Multiple reasons. One of the main reasons is being obedient. It's been a numerous amount of times that God has showed me that Ashley was for me. Honestly, some of those times I wasn't listening. And I guess that's where it ties into being obedient. We can ignore God when He's telling us to do something, or we can listen. A few times I tried to ignore until He sat me down and made me listen. So, why I proposed, and that's one of the reasons. 2, Ashley is the closest thing to God to me. And what I mean by that is she brings the love of God to me. I never really had that much. I'm always the person that brings God to other people. So to have someone that brings God to me, it's just a beautiful feeling. Beautiful. I mean, I listened, it's all about following. Like when a parent say, do this. Well, mom and dad, I did this. I did that part of it. But that's not all what I told you to do. So I think that kind of ties into what I'm saying. Like I was listening, but was I completing all the steps as God was telling me to? Challenges that it brought up. Again, God has a unique way of making you listen. And, I can truly remember at a time when I got hurt, that God was really trying to talk to me and sit me down. Separated my AC joint, and in that time, I listened. And even in those times, the love that Ashley gave to me was unmatched. So, again, God made me listen in those moments. And then the love that I was receiving from Ashley in those moments is why I put that ring on it.
I can't do this. I'm already about to cry. Why did I say yes to Ty's proposal? Tissue. Thank you. I said yes because God. It's always like unreal and unrelatable until you're in it. But when people say it is the easiest yes of my life, it was the easiest yes of my life. And the answer has always been yes when it came to Ty. And it's like the clearest thing that I could ever hear from God was in each phase of Ty and I's relationship, the yes was so easy. Saying yes to letting go of whatever was in the past and starting our future. saying yes when I'm questioning, like, do I forgive this, or do I, choose grace, or do I move forward? It's always God telling me that the answer is yes. So I say yes because of God. He's made this one of the clearest things for me when life is so blurry. And just not to mention, time makes saying yes so easy. Ty's brought something so good to my life, and I think the best way to explain it is just a calmness, a peace that I couldn't find in anyone else, whether that's in relationships, like partnerships, whether that's from mom, dad, friends. A peace closest to the peace that I find when I am just alone in a room with God. I find a great peace like that with Ty. And it's been from the very beginning. I never forget. I feel like Ty knew, but I was just having a hard time. And he would breathe with me. And those breaths, just inhale, exhale, brought me the greatest calmness. And that is just the description of our relationship, the description of my love for Ty and why yes is so easy. He brings me so much peace, so much love, so much joy that I couldn't imagine not saying yes. I think this might sound redundant, but what's different is that it's just completely different than anything that I've ever seen. There hasn't been a relationship that I've seen that gives me what I get with Ty. And that brings me great joy. Just personally, growing up, I didn't see many successful relationships. What I can say is that what Ty and I have, it doesn't resemble any of those. But that's also the difference. It is in the way we love, the way we forgive, the way we touch, the way we see each other. Completely different than anything I've ever seen. And the way that we fall onto our faith, the way we fall onto our knees and pray for this very thing to be what God has called it to be. I haven't seen that. In truthfulness, I haven't seen that. In genuineness, I have not seen that. And that is the difference. I've seen marriages try to work, right? I've seen people try to save their relationships by trying to put God in them. But that's not how it works. It starts with God. And I think Ty and I knew that. And that's the difference. That's the beauty. That's our foundation, you know. That's how we built our house, with Christ as a center. And it's different. Keeping Christ as a center, keeping our love as a center, not relying on self or ego to move us or control us. That's the difference.
So I'm not gonna just act like all the relationships that I've seen has been just terrible. You know, there's pros and cons from those relationships. You know, the good things I've learned and the things that I've taken away. I'm like, I don't want that. Starting with one of the eldest relationships that I've seen is with my grandparents. Thank God that they're still living. I still have them in my life. My grandmother and granddad have been married for over 50 years. And again, I'm not going to pretend like their relationship has been perfect because, I've talked to both of them. They always sharing wisdom on what they've learned throughout their years of being married. But I know one thing for sure is that my grandmother loved my granddad. My granddad loves my grandmother. Both Southern from Alabama, have that Southern hospitality. My grandmother, they're in their 70s. My grandmother still gets up, cook for my granddad. She cleans the house. She greases his scalp. She just loves on my grandfather. And I know, a lot of that comes from how they grew up. My granddad didn't receive love as much love as he wanted from his mother. So that was a hole in his heart. And I can tell that my grandmother still to this day is trying to, fulfill that hole that's in his heart. And I'm not going to say that that hole is completely covered, but my grandmother has played a major role in covering it to a degree. Prime example, my grandmother spent, some time in the hospital, not too far away from where they lived. And every single day, my granddad will walk to the hospital, sit with my grandmother for a couple hours and walk back home every day. Wouldn't miss a day. And he'll make jokes like, I'm not coming tomorrow. Tomorrow shows up. He's in the hospital. So they play a major role in what loves look like for me. Fear is a strong word. I guess you can say like the fear of not knowing what it's gonna look like. But I don't think I'm afraid. I know I'm not afraid of it. I guess that's where my faith ties into and what God has already told me and showed me. So, nah.
Not just that he makes the right choices, but that he always does what he believes is right. I pray for Ty's family and relationships, that he has discernment. I pray for Ty's relationship with God. That's my biggest prayer, because I know that what I can't control as man, what the world can't do, and what God can do, that it's strengthened more and more each day, that he finds new revelation every single day in his relationships and what he has encountered over his life, that he's able to choose outcomes, that he is not a result of his past, rather that he learns from anything that he's gone through. I pray for Ty's strength, his speech, his voice, and that it is gentle yet mighty, that it is a voice that is heard and truly heard among many. I pray for Ty's future, for his success, his heart, and how he loves. That part is so natural for him. And I pray that it continues to be natural for him, and that it continues to read as genuine to others, and that it continues to attract others. I pray these things and so much more for Ty, that he's able to just carry it all, and that in that I'm able to follow him. I think the obvious answer is longevity, happiness, joy. The answer that I want to say rather is love and not just a love for me, a love that we share with others. I want God's love in our relationship. I want us to be God's hands and feet. I want us to do his work here on earth. I want that to go from us doing that separately to us doing that together. I desire a relationship that performs at its absolute best for the glory of God. I've always wanted that. I've always wanted a relationship so deep, a relationship so good that it just screams God and that it screams love. And I couldn't want that more with Ty. I want a big, happy family that's physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally solid, and that is a servant as a group before God. All of us. Yeah, that's what I see. That's what I want for me and Ty. And the great thing about that is I know that because that's what I want and that's what we want, that everything else is going to fall into place. And by everything else, I mean the things that maybe a common person would mention, the worldly things. Finding your treasure in God, he rewards you outwardly. So.
Healthy. From all sides. Emotionally healthy, physically healthy, spiritually healthy, mentally healthy. I want a union so strong that it inspires others. I pride myself in being the example in everything that I do. And this is something that I'm doing. I'm choosing marriage. So I'm going to pride myself to be an example. It does. Heavy is the head that wear the crown. So I know that I'm crowned, simply put. So of course it's going to be heavy. Of course there'll be pressure. But pressure makes pipes or bust. Pressure makes diamonds or it bursts pipes. You got to decide what are you going to let the pressure make of you. Either broken pipes or diamonds. It all boils down for me is having a relationship with God. We not going to have all the answers. I don't care how much we look to man, mom, dad, whoever, for the answers. Those are opinions. There's only one person you can turn to when you truly need answers or help, and that's God. When you decide to marry a person, together you both become God's bride. So I say that because as I decide to marry Ashley, now I know that we belong to God as one. That's who you turn to when you need help. As a woman would turn to her man, a bride together turns to God.
Obedience, it's just been ringing over and over again in Ty and I's relationship. It's been a smack over the head from God. For me, what I'm learning about obedience is that it's not something that's perfect. Obedience is just that word, just its definition, to obey. God is saying, do as I say. Don't procrastinate. And procrastination has presented itself as a huge challenge for myself and sometimes for our relationship. Not so much in a doubtful way. We don't doubt God. More so, I just truly want to be perfect a lot of the times. And what I'm learning about obedience is that it doesn't have to be perfect for me to start. It doesn't have to be perfect for me to just do. And so in the last month, obedience has been knocking at my door every single day. Ty proposing was out of obedience. Me saying yes was out of obedience. Me being on this camera and talking to this mic is out of obedience. And it trumps fear. All of my life, I've known that God has favored me. And all of my life, I have believed that I have obeyed everything that He has called me to do. More recently, it's just been a true test of faith of whether or not I am going to choose what feels comfortable or if I'm going to trust and obey. There's a song. To trust and obey, 'cause I want to be an obedient child. And I want to love you all of my life. This is what I sang as a little church choir singer girl on the mic. A song about obedience. Who knew? Who knew? How does Ty hold me accountable? Ty is harsh. I'm just kidding. Ty, he holds me accountable, honestly, like no one ever has. It's a tough love method sometimes. And I kind of laugh because I think it's a type of love that I need. I feel like anybody tell you that, especially my brother. I feel like he would say that's exactly what I need. But Ty, he believes that love is accountable. And I have to agree. In ways that he holds me accountable is just putting it in my face. You know, when I'm not being my absolute best self. I know that's what that is. And I know that Ty sees so much potential in me and our relationship that is important to him to just put it in my face. But Ty will hold me accountable with his actions. He is really good about being disciplined and consistent. And it's a great example. It's one way that he holds me accountable by holding himself accountable. He also holds me accountable by helping me. You know, we're able to do a thing when it's made easier. And Ty helps me make things easier so I can be my best self. He's a good man.
Yeah.
Just two.
And this is the Power of Love podcast.
You know, this thing is beautiful. Beautiful. ASMR.
Healthy baby.
I didn't know he was going to do that. And that's healthy, baby.